Hello, welcome to your reading, everybody. So today we're doing a reading from the moon. We're kind of in a between stage between the full moon. No, what was it? The lunar eclipse that's just recently passed. If you're watching this around the time this video is released, and also the solar eclipse that's coming up on the 8th of April. So very soon, because while I'm recording this, it's the April Fools, right? So it's April the 1st. This is no joke, though. This reading is going to be really interesting. It's a message from the moon. The funny thing is, it came through very intensely while I was like thinking, what kind of reading should I do? And it's coming through with not just like a masculine or feminine aspect, even though we are talking about the moon generally seen as very feminine. It's really coming through with the intensity or the luminosity or the strength of the moon. So take that how you will. The cards, I'm using these cards. This one came through and I was like, okay, sure. And also the placements of these crystals. So we're getting double crystals. So if you like picking by crystals, you have many options. Okay, so we'll grab 3 piles to start off with. Pile 1. Let's move this out of the way so it's not casting a shadow. Okay. And lastly, pile 3. Okay, so sorry about the light, but we'll take a look at each card. I'll see if I can. Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's just spread them out. So let's take a look at your reading today. So for pile number 1, the crystal you have is the Angel Aura Quartz crystal. And I know it's a bit blurry, but it does have like a kind of like a rainbowy shine to it. And you also have the Rose Quartz card. This has a message of unconditional love, romance, nourishing, and soothing. Okay. For pile number 2, you have the Howlite. This is in a little cube. So it's a little cube of Howlite. And you also have the Ruby card. It says messages of increased abundance, passion, lucid dreaming, and light of the soul. Okay. And lastly, for pile number 3, you have Black Obsidian. Kind of in a cube, has like a little bit missing. It's been polished in that fashion. And you also have, oh wow, there we go. Another obsidian. Interesting, we got 2 quartzes, 2 obsidians. Who would have thought? Golden or gold sheen obsidian with personal power, spiritual manifestation, earth healing, and new experiences. So interesting cards coming through. What I'll do is I'll leave these here. Take your time to pick whichever one's calling to you. Remember, this is a message from the moon. So what does the moon mean to you? What was playing through my head, funnily enough, before I started doing the recording of this was Sailor Moon when in the very early first season of when she does her moon prism power makeup, and you know it goes into that and she transforms. So maybe that's something that's coming through here. I don't know. But I think this is going to be a good reading, a fun reading, and also hopefully a really helpful one on your journey in life. So I'll leave you to it. And yeah, down in the description, you can jump straight to your video. I'll leave timestamps with the various cards and crystals we've got out today. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. You've chosen the beautiful Rose Quartz, Unconditional Love, Romance, Nourishing, Soothing, and the Angel Aura Quartz. This honestly really does feel like a need for love or a need for companionship, I would say, is probably the best way I can put this. Someone you can just be with, right? There's this kind of energy. This isn't necessarily a love reading. I just feel like it's that desire for wholeness, in a sense. So, I mean, we are talking about the moon, can be associated with feminine energy, very emotional energy, who we really are. It's like trying to find someone who really sees us for who we are. And also finding out who we are ourselves. So this could be a lot of like internal conversation type reading. We'll have a look at how this goes, but I really like that the piles kind of like matched up with the crystals that were preset, right? I didn't go, oh, this one should go here or here. I was like, this one's here, this one's here, this one's here. We'll see whatever comes out. Even if like black obsidian came out with this crystal, right, it would just go with it. So it was interesting that 2 quartzes lined up, 2 obsidians lined up. Very interesting. And we've got the lovely Angel Aura Quartz, which does feel like very clarifying, very clearing and balancing. Both these crystals feel like support and like love energy. So we'll see how this plays into your reading. Whatever comes through, I will obviously read exactly as it is, but take whatever resonates. This is for you. And if a message comes through that does not resonate with you, you do not have to take it. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do, take, accept. You have to be the one who decides what's right for you. Okay. So after all that blahs out of the way, let's get your cards out. I feel like I picked a lot of cards. I was just called to grab cards and then grab more cards and then grab more cards. So there's a lot here. Grab these ones. So there's going to be a lot of Oracle cards coming through today. It's absolutely fine. It's not really about what kind of cards or who is using, like, you know, it's how they get interpreted and how the message relates to you. And that's really how important it is, I feel anyway, with these cards that have come out today. Oh yeah, this works out quite well. I think I can grab maybe 2 of these. And we'll leave the rest for the tarot cards. Yeah, we can fit 2. Yeah, the energy of the moon is feeling really vibrant, really kind of excitable energy, which is nice. Okay, so you have Master Buddha with increased awareness and deep connection. This is really what I was thinking of, like, you know, the moon, I was saying under the layers, not just the thing that you shine with or that people see first off the bat, like the hair, the makeup, the clothes, you know, whatever, you know, the shoes, the house, you know, whatever. This is like the real you. And I feel like this is either a search or I don't know, this is a conversation with yourself. Increased awareness, deep connection, trust your inner voice. So I really like this for you. It's really about believing that not just that voice that tells you what you're doing wrong or anything like that, not that inner voice, really the one that comes from your heart space, that comes from when you are in a good place, not the one that comes up when things are not going right or you're in a panic or a frantic, right? This is the one that is from the heart. Okay, and you also have Zombie and Vivi Azizan with Struggle, Lost Souls, and Ritual. Okay. One small aspect of this is maybe you want to do something with the new moon, full moon, anything like that in this coming month. If you're watching this nearing some kind of eclipse, maybe you want to do not like a ritual, but just like, I don't know, just like light a candle, put some good intentions in, say what you want, say what you mean, say what's true to you. The other thing with this is the struggle and the lost soul aspect. You're definitely not lost. There may be some kind of struggle with the mind, the heart, the feelings, the emotions. This is a turbulent time, and I don't think anyone can really predict it astrologically, right, within us, but also, you know, in the world. I think there's always like struggling times and different things with many people, but this is not about the external. This is, I feel, really going in with the internal. The reason why I've chosen not this particular card, but why I put the zombie with the Vivi is the traditionally zombies have been put on TV now as like mindless wandering around, eating brains, right, and destroying humans. Traditionally, from what I've understood and read and researched, is there was this belief of coming back and almost being like, let's say in a life you were back in the day were a slave, you could even pass and then be kind of like trapped back in the body and live forever as like trapped slave, right? Someone's owning you. So it's almost like the feeling of, hopefully you're not going through that. I mean, if you're watching this, probably not. But the feeling of being just constantly doing the same old thing, the same grind, wanting some kind of like vibe and spark back into your life. And hey, there might be something happening, or this is an opportunity to let this through. This opportunity through. We'll see what else comes through. Love unconditionally. Wow, you've got unconditional love. I couldn't put this any other way of what this is about. Unconditional love is loving yourself, especially for the things that you feel like you may have not done correctly or anything like that. This is unconditional love is like, what is unconditional love to you? What does it really mean? Think about it, have a conversation with what it actually means, not what people say it should mean. This is all an internal talk within yourself. We all learn from different people and different experiences we have, but who are you as a soul right now? What kind of deep, deep, deep questions do you have that you want to ask yourself, and what comes out? Does it feel like, don't judge it, just let out exactly what needs to come out. I feel like this is a soul searching type thing, and that's why the lost soul's coming through. It's not like you're lost, it's just you want to have a better, deeper connection with self or with someone, and you're allowed to have that. Happiness. Yep. Always comes down to happiness. I've done a few readings recently where it's like, well, what about this? Will this be the right job for me? And it's like, what's your intentions with the job? Is it to make money so you can buy the house, the things external that you really need? That's not a problem. That's fine, right? Is it to find a job that's more fulfilling so you're actually happy within the work? Sometimes you'll take a hit with happiness when you can get enough money to be able to have a good foundation, and then you can kind of shift, right? And that's absolutely fine. You know, however anyone works their life is absolutely up to them and how they want to do it. I wouldn't give my opinions on what people should be doing. It's more like, if they want this, this is the way. And I feel like happiness is really the key goal. I feel like if you do like a meditation and put the put this happiness kind of like mentality or card into your heart space and just meditate on that, and how do I achieve my version or fulfillment and happiness in my life, or like, how do I find someone who we can work together to fulfill our own happiness goals, you know, whatever that is. Meditation, conversation, this is all very much within yourself. Of course, you can have this with other people as well, because that is a beautiful way of expressing yourself. But, you know, however you want to work this, absolutely up to you. You don't want to keep going through the cycles of feeling like, when I used to work in the city, and I would go to work, right, it was like down a hill. And so everyone would be getting off the trains, buses, whatever, and then going down the hill. And it's like, everyone's dressed nicely, whatever, but they're just not, they don't feel like they're alive. They're just kind of like their soul's out of their body, and they're just like, da, 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 da. And then on the way back, they were like, da, 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 da. Same thing, half drained, tired, just heading home, like in a daze. And it was like, I used to call it the zombie walk, and it felt exactly like that. Because if I didn't focus on it, I would be at work and then at home without barely knowing what happened. I would just autopilot, and everyone's on autopilot. So I feel like this is getting out of autopilot and into your heart. Okay. Oh, I love this. So you've got Vesta and the sixth the house. Interestingly enough, it is talking about work, right, and service and health. This is about what you do and how you care and look after yourself. It's highlighting Virgo. Virgo is very practical, not always in the spotlight, right? But really gets the work done. Really does do all the work in the behind the scenes. You know, if a play's on and everyone's like clapping for the main characters, Virgo's the one that's set the stuff up, that's put the food out, that makes sure everyone's safe, everyone's got their clothes and their costumes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like they're doing all the work in the background, no one sees them, but that's fine. They just need to do that. This is definitely about checking in on many different aspects of yourself, almost putting yourself in the spotlight for yourself. You don't have to do it in front of other people, but you know, it's time to highlight you, highlight your needs. Interesting. But Vesta is really nice. Inner spark, sacrifice, and devotion. Look, like I said with the work aspect, we sometimes do things that not that we don't want to do, right? We know that it's worth the reward. The work is worth the reward, especially if we're like working, right? We want to live in a house, or we want to be able to afford food and care for our dependents and things like that. So we'll do the certain things. Sometimes that can be as a sacrifice, but it can also be like the fulfillment part of life as well. But this is inner spark. So this is finding that passion and vibe back in life, just what I've already said with the cards that have come back out. So really nice here. Let's have a look at some tarot cards. This deck is a little bit more oracle-y than a traditional tarot deck, but you know, that's okay too. Nothing has to be traditional. And I feel like you are breaking out of almost some routine or tradition. It's time to step back out there, step back out there in a sense, but understanding from within what that is. Like, this is all an internal conversation. That doesn't mean you have to hermit. It just really means like, let yourself say the things you want to say or feel the things you want to feel, so you know where you are in this moment. Okay, so let's see. Message from the moon, hey? Moon has a lot to say. This feels really good though, honestly. It just feels really happy. Not just because of the happiness vibe, but before readings, the energy I get from the moon. Moon was almost like in my face about it. And I was like, okay, we'll do that since you're getting in my face. I was going to do a reading around maybe like something to do with Easter, but I'll go with what comes up. Okay, let's take a look at the 6 tarot cards. So the first card you've got is the Sage of Activation. Look, you've got logic and structure. Interesting. See, there's all jagged lines. It's really interesting. It's very like, okay, readjust, readjust. It's not bad. It's just like, this is the King of Swords in traditional. So it is that logic. It is that structure. I always feel like a more modern age version of this king would be one who also trusts his intuition, right? Because that is logical. It is logical to trust how you feel. Unless you don't believe in yourself until you have proof on the outside. You know what I mean? Of course you have to trust your intuition and who knows who they are. So you may have certain things in your life really well structured. If you're still not experiencing, fulfillment or whatever you want to experience, now maybe it's time to ask some questions about that. You may have done what you needed to do to get to where you need to be in a particular path, but there may be something else you also want to add in to spice up life. So do it. 7 of Portals, yeah, this is the question. This is 7 of Cups in traditional. Like, this is coming back to the zombie card of like, doing something the way you've always done it to complete a goal. Maybe we scrap this and go do something different. Try a new map, try a new workplace, job, way of experiencing life, finding someone, just let it be. It doesn't have to be a big drama. It can be quite simply a decision to shift in a new direction or something like that. But yeah, the 7 of Portals is making a choice and a decision, something that you've worked on really well, looks beautiful and great. And now it's time to shift to some of the other aspects that haven't had as much care and attention. Maybe that's in regards to your own health, your own love, self-care, finding a person to work with and create a beautiful bond and relationship with. You know, whatever it is, it's up to you. And this is giving you that, hey, yes, poke, poke. Ooh, okay, I love this. So you also have the rainbow portal coming through. You got a couple of portals. These are cups, but also I like that they're portals, right? This is like an opportunity to jump through I wouldn't say a hoop because it sounds like a trick, like doing a trick for a dog or something. But this is more like jumping through into an unknown space that's exciting. Like this would be an exciting portal to jump in, right? We don't know what's on the other side, but we can trust our intuition that it will feel exciting and good and something new to experience. This is the Paladin is the Knight of Cups, and Knight of Cups traditionally to me feels like he loves love. He wants to get back out there or feel something that he had a spark in the past and maybe didn't explore it, or maybe they had explored it, but now it's been kind of like pushed aside for long enough, and now it's like to bring this excitement back in life. And excitement is whatever you feel excitement is, not what's told to you. If going to something that some people would not like, right? Like there's a lot of like knitting classes, or like not knitting classes, but a lot of like certain people, like people that like knitting will catch up and do some knitting classes, right, together, or not a class, but like a catch up. And so they'll talk and like do their thing, you know. That can be fun for some people, and for others it won't, because it's not about them, it's about you. What do you find exciting? Do you want to join a particular sports club? Do you want to, I don't know, whatever it is. There's no worry about doing it, and even if it doesn't work out, right, you at least tried it. You know that that's not for you. Get back into like a teenage mentality, maybe, of just going and doing and trying new things, because most things are going to be new when you're that age. Now it might be to get back into that vibe of like trying something different, trying something exciting and fun, and you know, enjoying the purpose and reason why you're here in this world. Okay, stop talking. All right, so we've got the Prince of Pentacles. All right, I think I'm going to flip them all, these ones. The moon coming out, of course. Moon has to show the moon's face, since it is the reading from the moon. And you've got also the Ace of Pentacles. Look, I feel like you've built up enough of something. So if you were working on like a real close bond, and you've worked and worked and worked on that, now it's time to continue that, right? Of course, not to neglect it, but to add more variety, to expand into maybe something else with that person, or maybe something else for you. This is about you. The moon is really, I feel like the purpose of the moon being like the topic or the message from is really to focus things back inwards, and inside, not inside yourself sounds a little bit dodgy, but you know what I mean, like inwards, internally, emotionally, spiritually as well. And you've got these two practical cards, right? You've got the Prince, who makes some decisions, makes a plan, and then plan of action, and goes forward with that, with some interesting ideas. You've built up enough of something where you can start to shift direction, and I would say more of an expand yourself in a greater capacity in a new area of your life. But it has to come from you. So I could say this could be new job, new relationships, friendships, dealing with interesting dynamics with family, right? That were difficult, and maybe trying to make headway in that, or make peace, at least in that sense. It's all about your compassion to love and care, and this is going to help resonate with other people too. I feel like you're important with your energy, like your energy that you, what is it, your signature signal is really important. And so when you're radiating at a high vibe, you really do change a room, or like influence others. But it has to be an inside job. It can't be just external. It has to, you have to be good before you can do good, right? That kind of mindset's coming through. You really do deserve happiness. with this happiness card coming through. It's also dolphins. They usually come in with like play and connection and family, right? Their communication, but they also are not ones to shy away from having some fun, like surfing. They do like, you know, on the waves and stuff, follow boats because they get that like that free what is it like I don't know, the stream kind of pulls them through, so they don't have to exert so much energy to go really fast. Like it's fun to them, and also probably quite helpful. But yeah, I think the reason why this is coming through, it has to be an inside job, has to come from your internal world. Whether that's sometimes shadowy, whether that's light, it's not about judgment. It's about understanding how you're feeling and letting that through, because you can jump towards particular goals and start working on them if you choose to. It's all up to you. This is really nice. This is about self-care. This is kind of like a self-care reading, especially if you are going through a time of, you know, this doesn't have to be actual struggle. It could be struggle, of course, but it could also be just the same old, and I feel like when we're working internally, we start to feel grateful for like being able to provide, have food, all that kind of stuff. We get back into like a really nice balance. And these two crystals really do feel like getting into your heart, getting into like a balanced space, so you can make decisions that are based off or coming from a sound environment rather than out of fear or worry or panic. Need to breathe sometimes. All right, that is exactly what I see in your reading. Of course, this could go anyway. There's a lot of like work health, internal happiness, internal, and finding that inner spark. Inner spark, where does it come from? It's inner, it's internal. So all very much about your internal world. Really nice reading. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, pile number one. I've enjoyed reading it. Thank you so much for letting me read for you and tapping into your energy. And yeah, this is your reading from the moon. Take care. Hello. Welcome to your reading, pile number two. So interesting pile you've chosen. You've chosen the Howlite and Ruby. Very different, right? Very different, you know, values, right, to humanity, but also very different meanings and uses with the crystals traditionally. So you've got Ruby here with increased abundance, passion, lucid dreaming, light of the soul. Light of the soul was really highlighted with this crystal, and it kind of looks like, you know, what we'd see in the face of the moon. Not exactly, looks more like a piece of marble, but like, you know, that that kind of like bits of shadow and the white wall in the sky, pretty much. So really nice energy coming from this pile. So we'll have a look at what your message is. Not getting too much straight away, but it will come through when we start pulling some of the cards and get more of the message. So yeah, let's have a look. Take this one. Really like the cards that have come out for this for this reading as well. They're just very pure, I would say. There was a little bit of passion talk in the last reading, so of course, if you feel drawn to that, go check that reading out as well. All right, let's take a look at the Oracle cards first. So you have Mother Mary with love and peace. It says, let go of the need to be right, choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. This could be vibing with this energy. If you work with Mother Mary, lovely energies work with, right? Also, you know, whatever you kind of entities, guides, etc., angels. you work with, this is coming through with just kind of like that high vibe energy, it's kind of like shifting out of the struggle and into the light, is what I want to say with this reading. The moon, like when I look at this particular reading, feels like it's at its brightest, so that could be really touching on, I know we're coming up, especially if we're watching this more when this is released, to a period of time where there is the solar eclipse that's coming up soon. This one kind of feels like more of the full moon, or the luminosity, or like the actual brightness of the moon, the feeling of the moon, the push and pull of the tides, this kind of stuff is coming through. I feel like it's stirring something, which maybe is highlighted here. This is love and peace. This is making peace, potentially forgiveness, and moving forward. Not to just forgive them, to be like, that's okay how you treated me or what you did to me, but it's more like what I want out of life is no longer to cycle with this feeling or with this person. Interesting, it's talking about let go of the need to be right, and the song playing right now, which was really loud for a moment, so I had to turn it down, is called Don't Let Go. So it's like this, that's what it's like, this push and pull, right? This push and pull. It's like, do I let go? Do I not let go? What if this happens? What if that happens? I have no idea what exactly this may be talking to, but there's like this tidal turbulence, and what happens with the tides, it causes the waves, and I guess there's also the airflow and stuff like that. I'm not a scientist, I don't know, but like it just feels like, it definitely does contribute to the tides, and also I know when there is like full moons and things like that, or the moon's very close or closer at an elliptical kind of like motion with the earth, and it goes over volcanoes and stuff like that, it can actually start triggering that kind of activity. So this is something to trigger something to wake up. I'm not sure exactly, but we'll have a look. We've got patience coming through. Good things take time. That's definitely how this one's feeling. Even this in the background, kind of like that setting sun. And you can look at the sun, not always, but when it's like setting, you can kind of like, you can see more of it without it impacting your eyesight, right? But you just get to see this huge celestial body that's in our solar system, kind of like the moon, and it's just like awe-inspiring, right? It slows us down. It gets us to kind of come to a patient equilibrium, if that's it. Not patient, I think that's just because that card came through, but just like a to just not see everything as a big deal and start to be like, oh, I'm just a small piece in a big puzzle. I don't have to take everything so seriously or in such a dramatic way. It just kind of humbles us, I guess, is the best way I can put it. Breathe, yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking. Like when you're looking at it, it's like you take a deep breath and you're like, and then you get into your heart, I guess, into your soul, or even, just smile. Even if you're not religious or spiritual, anything like that, people still like to just see the sunset, see the sunrise, look at the moon when it's bright. It just helps us see ourselves as a bigger part of the picture, and as also a small part of the bigger picture as well. But this nut right next to Mother Mary, feel good. Kind of like time to let go, move on beyond challenges, I feel. So I'll take that as you will. You have the 11th house, collaboration, memberships, and networks. This is highlighting Aquarius. I know that we're out of Aquarius, but Pluto's now in Aquarius if you follow, Western astrology, tropical. So it just feels like that it's time to make a shift and a change, right? Towards maybe the organizations or connections that you have in life. That kind of thing. You might want to check out your 11th house and see what kind of things that has to say about who you are at this moment as well. For another house, you also have the 7th house, partnerships, balance, one-on-one relationships. Look, so we've got like your external connections and also your close connections. So it is feeling very much about Like there seems to be like a dichotomy, like this push and pull, kind of like the Earth and the Moon kind of like have not interaction, have like an impact on each other in a sense, right? We have kind of captured the Moon in our own orbit, and the Moon in turn shifts and moves the tides and interacts with the Earth in some way, in some form. This one's highlighting Libra as well. Libra generally about kind of love, energy, balance, also having to deal with challenges sometimes as well. All right, and you've also got the Phoenix. Does tie really nicely with the Ruby, this red. Phoenix and Asclepius's rod. So this is rebirth, transformation, and healing. So a time to, I guess with the breathe and patience, both feel very like there's no rush. You're not rushed to do anything here. You're not being asked to anyway if you've already got urgent things you're processing in life. I feel like this is just really taking some time to connect back with who you are, not what you're trying to be. As best I can say it, who are you? Who are you when you're at your work or with your club or with your mates? Who are you with your partner? Who are you by yourself? This is about accessing something within you. Not too sure though. I mean, maybe that's a question for you to answer and ask of yourself. It's like, who am I? I guess it keeps coming back with who am I? I want to kind of like shift it, and then it's like, nope, who am I? So I can't say anything other than who am I? One thing I will say, it's definitely not about judging who you are. It's more just about expressing and being able to honestly say, this is who I am and this is where I'm going and this is my path. There is healing here too, especially with this like mother healing, right? And the Phoenix healing. It is about a transformation and a change. Making sometimes small changes make a big difference in life. Working part-time instead of full-time can make a huge change in your attitude, how you see life, your work life, right? Also changes the amount of money you earn, so you have to accompany that or work around that as well. But it's just like it's like kind of a small change, but it has a huge impact on how you view life and how you interact with your family and etc, etc, etc. All right, let's take a look at your cards. So you have the Emperor with Sovereign Cohesion. I do like that, Sovereign Cohesion. Sovereign Cohesion is an interesting sentence. You can see this huge white line here. It's not about anything other than who you are as like a soul. You've got the light of the soul. This is about expressing yourself, especially. The cohesion is kind of making me think of like blending or being able to fit in nicely, like our fingers kind of like intertwine, right? Kind of like that. Still being yourself, but also how you connect, I guess, is the best thing. Like, again, who are you in many different scenarios and situations? And it's not about judging. It's just about experiencing, understanding who you are. I know you probably got the message, but they keep slapping me in the face with it. So you've got Equalizing Power. This is the Tower card. Equalizing Power. That's a good way of putting the Tower card too in a more modern sense. I feel like gone are the days where we kind of fear this kind of energy, this tower energy, because it shakes up our desire to just fix and stay put. A lot of us want a bit of a shift, and I think this shift is really to empower you. It's not to rush into anything, it's to take some time, especially if this is around healing or I don't want to say correcting a relationship, more like working on and starting to process some certain things within group dynamics, with family, with loved ones, with whoever is popping up when I'm talking about this. But the Tower card, Tower sometimes needs to happen, right? We need to rebuild, build better foundations. Foundations start to go after a while, and the tower will fall over anyway, so we may as well start to stabilize it and then fix what needs to be fixed, or let it fall and then start to build somewhere else, a new tower in another place. You also have Heartful Communications. This is the Initiative Activations, or the Page of Swords. Heartful Communication is really nice. This is, yeah, definitely, if this is about internal, speaking to yourself internally, being kind. But if this is about also, I mean, same with talking about to other people, your groups, your one-on-one connections, the people around you, again, you know, come from a heart space, come from and a desire to repair, to heal, to grow, to expand, not to fight or argue, because that's just going to perpetuate some of the challenges within our lives. There's no win, or it doesn't feel like there's, if someone loses, I win. That doesn't feel like a win. It feels like a loss overall, a net loss. It's trying to find a fair balance and a way to move forward, and sometimes that's not with other people. That's time to let go of those kind of types of connections or relationships where they just don't blend well. And if you keep staying in it, that's your choice. You have to own it. But we're getting a lot of beginnings, right? The Tower card, this, and it also shows in the background a tower's been struck, and what happens, the fire, it all falls out, but there's this rebirth, and this kind of like healing glow creates this way of reanimation. In video games especially, the Phoenix will come out and also give life back to the fallen characters, and also to deal damage to the thing that's like fighting them or negatively impacting them, right? So it's like, it kind of kills two birds with one stone, let's say. Talking about new beginnings, we've got the Ace of Pentacles, really big, bright ace here. Also have the Queen of Swords, cutting off what no longer serves you. Making this decision for yourself. If it's an internal thing, it's an internal thing. So an external thing, it's external. Internal, I would say, is more like having certain feelings towards an ex or something, but they haven't been in your life for 20 years, but you still hold on to some resentment or blame towards them for the way your life has turned out or whatever, right? But you have to take responsibility at some point for what you decide to hold on to. I'm not saying you take responsibility for what they did. I'm saying you take responsibility for how you move forward and what you do in life. And then we've got the Four of Pentacles coming through. This is a desire to shift, but also a desire to keep things the same. It's an interesting one. It's not a bad one. It's just like, I've got my things, I'm going to keep what I've got, right? You can kind of see here, he's got certain things in the background. It's an interesting one because I don't know exactly what's happening in this interaction, but it kind of feels like he's a doctor and given her a jab or something, or just maybe he's a psychiatrist and he's helping her talk through some stuff. This could be a time to, the tower could be the breaking of this mask, or who you are trying to be instead of being just you, because all you have to do is you. And that's it. Well, what an interesting one. That's how you get to the light of the soul, is to clear the darkness, or clear the process, walk through the shadow, right? You have to go through the tunnels at the end to get towards the light and then see what's at the other end. So there's a lot here. You are supposed to do this in a way that you feel empowered, not by being told by a reader or by anyone else out there. This is up to you, and this is an opportunity. You can keep things exactly the same. You don't have to change who you are. It's just more of a highly expressed version of yourself, a more greater expanded version of yourself. That's all this reading is really touching on. I'm going to leave that there for you, pile number 2, though. I hope this really does help. It's got a lot of energy and a lot of messages in here. The moon is getting right down into the depths of your soul. And it's really not going into the shadow. It's going in to help find that vibe and zest in life, but also to bring out the purpose and meaning of life for you. All right. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I will be doing another reading every week. So every Monday I do readings. So feel free to check out my videos and come along to every week. I'll try to bring one out on Monday. Other than that, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to your reading pile number 3. So let's take a look. So you've chosen the golden. I'm already picking up cards. No rush. There's no rush for this one. You've got the gold or golden sheen, obsidian, personal power, manifesting, spiritual manifestation, earth healing, and new experiences. Spiritual manifestation is interesting, kind of just makes me think of subconsciously manifesting without consciously acting on it. So what you do, be mindful of how you are and what you do, because it is being seen and you will attract what you put out there. And same with you've also chosen the crystal, which is the black obsidian, which is so interesting that we got, the first pile with the 2 quartzes and then the third pile with the 2 obsidians. Definitely not planned, but that's just exactly how Spirit wanted to come through. I would say this one is definitely like the energy of the eclipse that's coming up. So this is kind of going to be an interesting reading for you if you've chosen this one. I don't know how it's going to pop out, of course, but it does feel like a very interesting vibe. Let's just say that. Okay. And of course, this is the message from the moon. The moon here kind of feels like more interesting. It kind of, I don't know if it plays on the shadow of the moon, not just because it's showing the obsidians, but there's something there. We'll see what comes out with the cards, right, of what the message really is about. But there's just this vibe of the more, I would say, mysterious side of the moon. The more unknown aspects, how people say the dark side of the moon, maybe like our shadows. Definitely not to judge them, just to see we'll see what comes out. But I feel like that's where this may head to. Of course, if it directs me in a different direction, I'm not going to force any direction that the moon doesn't want to take, because it'll always unveil the truth in time. Truth feels very strong in this reading. All right, let's take a look at your Oracle cards pile number 3. You have foundations, the 8, number 8. Foundations, not the 8, but this is foundations. So this is what you build on top of is only as good as its foundation, right? So if you've made lots of shifts and changes in life and added certain things onto your so-called like Christmas tree, right? But what is the stand? How good is the stand? How big is the base of where the Christmas tree is holding? Because you can add more things onto it, but eventually, like a tower, it'll fall, and then we can only start again and work on the foundation. So this is making sure like what you're building on, this is your root chakra, this is like where you build on, is solid and is true to you. It's no point having a good foundation if it's an untrue foundation as well. That almost turns it into a shaky foundation. So it has to be honest and true. Okay, interesting. You also have the Holy Spirit coming out. It is still Easter Monday here where I'm streaming, recording. So interesting. We've got the Holy Spirit with expect miracles. It says, remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. That's why I was like, some of this is coming unconsciously with the spiritual manifestation. You're trying to build or provide yourself with opportunities to grow in a direction that you want to grow. Be, I guess, aware or keep your eyes open to these opportunities. You also have the Old Master and time stuff. Masters, purpose, and past. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like I said, the shadow, and you can see this kind of like interesting figure in the background of this, like it almost looks like a demon, or like not in a negative sense, just more like, you know how we have like chatter in our ears about some things, about what we should be doing and what we're not doing right. Really, it's just aspects of self. This feels like an aspect of self that's kind of getting away with not really showing our true integrity or being honest with ourselves. So it's an interesting one. This is touching on the past and purpose. Like, what is our purpose? What are we here for? What are you here for? What is your, are you fulfilling that particular goal right now? And it doesn't mean you have to be doing it exactly, but it's taking steps towards something that you feel drawn to on like a spiritual level, whether it's service, whether it's self-care, healing, that kind of stuff. You know, be mindful of that, be aware of it. You don't have to live or feel like the past has control over you. You have full control. It's an interesting one. You have Gateway. I like this, especially right next to Miracles. The Gateway is about making leaps and bounds towards a huge amount of progress. You might actually look back in a year's time and be like, wow, I really wanted to work on certain things, but I never knew I could do this much. I never knew I could get to here. I never knew I'd get over this issue or fulfill this dream or something like that, because those two are really like high vibes energy, but it takes effort and really trust in self to be able to make headway in this. So you have the fixed and the fifth house. I do like the fifth house here with the fun, hobbies, and creativity. It is Leo too, it is highlighting you, and I feel like that's been part of all this as well, is highlighting you. But it's like the true you, not the kind of like, sometimes Leo gets the stigma of just like being showy. But if it's showy and it's who you truly are, showing who you really are, then it's not just fake, right? It's absolutely true, and at least you get to see exactly what it is in front of you. I don't have a huge amount of Leo in my chart, so I don't know too much about it, but like, you know, that can be kind of a stigma. And it's the fifth house. You're meant to have some fun in life. This isn't a place to just do some work and then leave. You can find another planet for that. And you also have the fixed sign here with action, momentum, and dedication. Yeah, I feel like you're able to make a lot of headway. This is how it feels. It feels like you are able to make a lot of headway in a direction that you feel called to. Your guides or your higher self is almost like manipulating space and time to bring this to your attention, this like thing to process or move on from, this thing to start to repair a foundation that was broken through past trauma, through pains. If it's not even about that, it's just to boost an aspect of yourself that, you know, wants to be out and about, wants to be seen and heard. Old Master is really interesting. It does kind of touch on old souls, and sometimes old souls are ones that don't learn their lessons, right? They're like, oh, I'm an old soul because I've done this life and this life and this life and this life. If they're learning the same, or trying to learn the same lesson, but they haven't, they can be old souls, but it doesn't mean they're like haven't learnt their lessons, right? So this could be part of that. This could be starting to really make headway and break out of a cycle, especially on Earth. These cycles are hard to break out of compared to other places because it's more fixed and kind of like directed. This place is not directed. You're here to experience whatever you desire to experience, and that can shift and change once you're here. So what's actually going to be more fulfilling, I guess, is a good question to ask yourself. I'll take these two. Oh, look at those shiny, shiny cards. Okay, so these are the tarot decks, and I'll just grab some of these for you. You're absolutely able to get into a better place where you feel more like inner child happiness, I feel. I don't know if it's inner child work exactly, but it definitely is like you have this opportunity to be excited about life again, I guess is a good way of putting it. Sorry if this one gets cut off a little bit, I'll try to move them but I'll show you the cards regardless. All right, so you've got the Nine of Swords. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely taking out a sword, right? Taking out a sword that's been stuck there for a while. It's almost like you've been carrying around a sword in your back, or a feeling of some kind of pain. And I don't know, it could manifest in like back problems, or it could manifest in especially if it's like emotional anger, it could manifest in like stomach problems, reflux, you know, deep wounds in our stomach, like things like that. What do you call them? Can't remember. I'm not a doctor, of course, but like the ulcers is what I was thinking of, that kind of thing. You suffer from that. Your body is trying to tell you something, especially if doctors have tried different things and nothing's really working. You're just like, oh, you just have to live with it. You don't have to live with it. Just have to get over or process whatever you're holding on to. That might be really old, especially if you've been through many cycles and different lifetimes of the same thing and had trouble with this lesson or this growth opportunity. We get stuck in a routine of like, okay, well, we're used to going through this, so we'll just keep doing it, right? You also have the Ten of Swords. Damn, you really are wanting to move on and process this, but also it's a tough one to let go of. The 9 and the 10 right next to each other. And you can see here with like one sword can almost turn into like mental anguish to emotional anguish to also physical anguish. You know, it turns into a lot of stuff. It's a lot here. As you know, the moon's not holding back today. And then you've got the Four of Swords. This is the opportunity to really step out of the pain and the cycle of it all and lay down the swords and just to chill, right? This is after the Three of Swords traditionally, which is the heartache, and this is the healing, the opportunity to rest, take some time to rest. I would say, especially if this is all popping in, look, you've got these beautiful cards showing that there's an opportunity to move forward. You're not stuck here. You have an opportunity to move. Just have to believe it and make the steps towards clearing this. You've also got number card 66. This is the Three of Earth Guardians and Coral Reef. Coral Reef's super interesting. I live in Brisbane, so not too far away from the Great Barrier Reef. And the communities there is just like, there's a whole lot there. There's its whole ecosystem, but it's very diverse, very colorful too, which is beautiful for us to see as well. But it's just like a whole, it's a whole variety of different life, right? Different marine aquatic life. The 3 is also about being recognized for the work you do, being recognized for who you are, starting to be recognized. You have to recognize yourself and know who you are, know that what you're doing is important. So make sure you are doing those things, those little things, even if it's, you know, you can't take time away from work or something, but there's always taking 10, 15 minutes for yourself, for something fun, whatever it is, something that isn't just, you don't need to accompany with like junk food or with like an addiction like smoking or something like that. Of course, each to their own, you do you, if that all works for you, of course, but like this feels like moving beyond that, where the crutches and the little things that kind of like, you know, smooth over the cracks in the foundation. This is actually dealing with the foundation itself, not to just like put a plaster on it and move on. You also have Reclaim Your Power. I mean, exactly. Like, this is exactly. Yes, exactly. I mean, I have nothing else to say about this. This is the 8 of Activations, which again is the 8 of Swords. So you've got the 8, 9, 10, and the 4. You're getting a lot of swords. There's a lot going on in that head. I feel like in some parts you're almost kind of annoyed by this reading, and I feel like that's good. Not to annoy you, but to actually get you starting to think about what this is. If you're getting irritated, ask yourself why. Another sword. You've got Neutralize the Charge. Yeah, there's no rush with this. Take some time, take a breath. Start working on the things that you really want to work on. This could be internal. This could be all internal. We're talking about the moon. This is about personal power, reclaiming your power. very much about your internal world, your internal sovereignty, who you are, and knowing that you can really make headway and get to where you want to be. Just even if you have every single fixed sign in the world in your chart, right? It doesn't matter. You can always make headways and make progress in a particular way. You're not stuck in your circumstances or the past or anything like that, unless you choose to. You can make headway and progress in whatever you want out of life. Ooh, so interesting reading. I know there's a lot of swords here. The 8 of swords, the 10 of swords, the 9 of swords, the 4 of swords, and the 5 of swords. So you get sword, 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 sword. So it's a whole bunch of... And swords aren't negative. They're just air and mind, right? It's just air and mind. The fixed sign in the air symbol is Aquarius, and what's happening with Aquarius at the moment, Pluto's gone into Aquarius, and Pluto is another name for death, right? Is the god of death. And also kind of governs, I mean, it's a tricky one, but I think it's like where the power is. So it's giving the power back to Aquarius, which is the people. This is giving yourself back your power and reclaiming your power, which is scary, but super exciting and well worth a dive into. When it's in a different sign of, like, especially one where it's run by higher ups, or they put all the pieces in place, like our parents, right? When we're babies, we can't have the personal power to like structure all that. We need the structure in there so that we can do what we need to do, and then as we get older, that's when it's like giving ourselves the power and starting to make decisions for ourselves. And I think this is where this is kind of coming into. I'm not saying that you're a baby before and now you're an adult. It's just more of like that kind of example of reclaiming power, which is scary but also empowering, right? It's giving yourself what ownership you desire and need for yourself. Will this be easy? Probably not, but your guides are really onto it with this. And I think you getting the reading was smart, because now you'll be aware of this and you'll be able to be aware of what is popping up. Why do I keep thinking about this particular person from 20 years ago that I thought I got over that? Maybe it's trying to tell you something. Just ask yourself the question, what are you trying to tell me? What does this keep popping up? What am I feeling about when I think about this? All those kind of things. Because it's shining a light on the situation for a purpose of growth, not to put you in perpetual pain. Okay, well, that is a lot. Earth healing and foundations also picked up here. Definitely starts from the ground up. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I hope this really helps you, pile number 3. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and you know what? I'll see you in the next reading.